Hey guys, what's going on? This is Francois with the Image Eye. Today, I am going to talk to you about why I think the Sony ZV-E1 was actually made already in the form of the Sony FX30 and why this camera is actually one of the best vlogging cameras that you can find. Today, I took some notes because there are some things that I want to talk to you about that may set you on the path of getting either the FX30 or the ZV-E1. This video is not a definitive review on either camera. I still haven't gotten my hands on the ZV-E1 yet. I'm waiting for 300 subscribers before I go out and buy the camera. The ZV-E1 is small. It's a full frame camera. It's great in low light. It's lightweight. If you look at my other channel, you can see that I'm always going around Korea and I'm always, taking photos or videos, and I need a lightweight camera. I don't want to carry so much equipment with me all the time. It has a 3-directional internal microphone that is just amazing from what I've seen so far. And it also just looks fun to use. I mean, it's so small, you can take it anywhere. And the size is comparable with my ZV-1. So what I've been seeing so far on the internet with the smaller YouTubers is that the ZV-E1 overheats. A lot of the YouTubers have been conducting tests using the 4K functions of the Sony ZV-E1, and some have even used the regular HD functions. But they've been running these overheating tests for long periods of time. I mean, they'll take the camera and they'll just, run it in 4K 30 or 40, 45 minutes, until the overheating sign pops up in the menu. And while I'm not, hating on anyone's test or their ability to test out the functions of a camera, it's just, for me, Sony marketed the camera as a vlogging camera. It's not marketed as a full frame professional camera that you're gonna take into the studio with you, even though you probably can, being that it has the same sensor as the A7S III. That's not how Sony marketed the camera. It was marketed as a vlogging camera where beginners to vlogging enthusiasts, YouTubers can go out, they can use the camera, they can shave time off of the editing process, and they can get the job done in the fastest time possible. When I'm out traveling in Korea or when I'm vlogging in Seoul, I don't ever take long shots of 15 to 20 to 30 minutes. Usually I'll put the camera down, I'll vlog for maybe 5 minutes at a time. With short periods of time like that, there's no need to worry about overheating. So even though the ZV-E1 may overheat, it might not be that big of a problem. But what may be a problem is the $2,200 US price tag that comes with this camera. This price can seem pretty steep. I mean, really, really steep. That made me think about my Sony FX30. And this thing here is exceptional at what it does. The price for the body was only $1,800 US. So it's already $400 cheaper than the Sony ZV-E1. And people may say, oh, but the ZV-E1 has some features that the FX30 has, but the converse can also be said. So I'm primarily a photographer, and the reason why I love my FX30 is that it has 26 megapixels. And even though there is no mechanical shutter, if I'm taking photos in the daytime, I can get away with using my electronic shutter and there won't be any problems with the photos. It's when I go into rooms where there's the incandescent lights. Also, this camera's autofocus ability is quite good. I haven't missed any shots yet with this camera. I mean, when I take photos, or if I'm using this camera for vlogging, or if I'm using it to shoot a YouTube video or whatever, this camera never misses focus. I've never had an issue with this camera at all, missing tracking me or tracking any of the subjects. And even though there is no AI autofocus in this camera like the ZV-E1, I can't say that the ZV-E1's AI autofocus would be better than this autofocus, because the main thing of autofocus is to make sure the subject is in focus and you're tracking the subject. So with the FX30, I have never ever lost track of my subject yet. Another thing that I love about the FX30 over the ZV-E1 is that this camera has a ton ton of customizable buttons. I don't even use all of the buttons yet. I will, because I'm still learning this camera. It usually takes me a while to learn all of my equipment because I have a full-time job that I do in the daytime. Yeah, this FX30 has a ton of customizable buttons which can make the camera very easy to use, and it can speed up your workflow. Okay, now we're coming down to the nitty-gritty of why I think the FX30 is the perfect vlogging camera. Whenever I'm traveling around Korea, I'm usually traveling in the summertime. Sometimes I travel in the winter, but more often than not, I'm traveling in the summertime. And Korean summers are super hot and super humid. And me, I love hot weather. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia originally. So I love hot weather. I love humid weather. I'm always out all day from sunrise to sunset. I need a camera that can keep up with me and the temperatures, the high temperatures that Korea has during the summertime. And the FX30 has something that I love dearly. It's this fan here at the side. You can see there's a dedicated fan to keep the processor or whatever else is inside to keep it cool. Yesterday, I did a video here in Korea about a cafe, and the temperature was quite high yesterday. It was about 75, getting up to 80 degrees. And I took this camera with me, the FX30, to vlog with, and I was out all day. I was out for about 2 hours just filming, and this camera never overheated. The heating sign never came on. It never ever came on. I've never had a problem with this camera, and now that I'm talking about it and I'm looking at it more and I'm holding it, it's cool. It's a great camera to use, and it's not so expensive. It's not as expensive as the ZV-E1, even though it might not be as great in low light capabilities or low light situations as the ZV-E1, but I've used this camera to take a few videos at night, and it performed well as long as you have a light source around you. Now, the one thing that I will have to say that is a downside about this FX30 is the size and the weight. Maybe the weight of the camera is not that big of a deal, but I'm always trying to reduce the amount of gear that I take, or reduce the weight of the gear that I'm taking, because I travel so much here in Korea. I'm constantly on the go, and I want to fit as many things in my bag as possible without slowing me down. This camera is phenomenal, but it's heavy. And that's the one thing that the ZV-E1 has over the FX30 is the weight, and it has a full frame sensor. So if you're a person who absolutely has to have a full frame sensor, then you probably want to go for the ZV-E1. But here, as you can see, I put the Sony 14mm G Master on this lens, on this camera, and it performed very well for vlogging. Maybe the ZV-E1 can speed up your workflow. It's possible, but you're giving something up with the ZV-E1 that you're getting with the FX30, and that is a dedicated fan. For me, having a fan is very important because it's hot here in Korea. So I'm still waiting to get my hands on the ZV-E1, and hopefully I'll reach 300 subscribers soon so I can get the camera and actually play around with it. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about this video. Let me know if you think the FX30 or the ZV-E1 would be a better fit. Personally, I think both cameras do the jobs that they're supposed to do. Remember, the ZV-E1 is marketed for vloggers. The FX30 is marketed for beginning cinematographers who, like me, also use this camera for vlogging. Or you can take photos with it. You can take photos with both cameras. I mean, it's the Sony camera. So anyways, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you join me in the next one. Let me know what you think about the video down in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care. Peace.